Hello everyone, Camp Nanowrimo is around the corner. For those who have no idea what Camp Nanowrimo is, it is a virtual retreat for writers that runs on April and July. You can go to campnanowrimo.org and see for yourself. If you're a writer, you've probably heard of Nanowrimo. It's an event happening every November, and the aim is for writers to complete a 50,000 word novel within 1 month. Contrary to that, Camp Nanowrimo is more flexible. It has more lax goals, meaning that you can choose your word count, or you can choose if you want to edit a novel, if you want to complete a manuscript, or anything. This is the first year I'm doing Camp Nanowrimo, and I've opted to do the traditional 50k draft and try to finish a novel. It's been around for quite some time. I estimate it needs around 50,000 words to finish it, so it will do. But I've done Nanowrimo many times. I have completed the challenge 5 times and I failed another 5 or so. So I think I can give you some hints about what you can do and what you should avoid. Bear in mind, this is my experience. What I say may not work for you, so you can choose to ignore me. This is food for thought. Let's go to hint number 1. Choose a manageable story. The point of Nanowrimo, especially for beginners, is that you learn how to write faster and more consistent. So, unless you're already a full-time writer or you're a writing veteran, and why you're listening to me if you're one of them, you can choose a work of fiction that will allow you to write without interruptions, faster, easier. So, say for instance you have a door block of a novel that's epic fantasy and has 50 or so point of view characters in a very complicated made up world. Odds are if you try to do that for an NaNoWriMo, you'll write 1,000 word introduction for any one of them and then it's over. Same if you have a historical novel that needs a ton of research while writing it. Unless you've already done all your research beforehand, you've kept your notes around, or you're very familiar with the setting you're writing in, you can skip that. In my personal experience, following 1 or 2 point of view characters over a plot and maybe adding a subplot in there works best. Your minutes may vary though, so do what feels more natural to you. Hint number 2. Silence your inner critic. No good book was written in one go. Okay, some of them have. But you get my meaning, right? While writing, just stop going back and change a typo you did 3 sentences ago. Don't stop to go and look up something that came up. Keep a note in the draft and look it up later. When you're editing, the words must flow, exactly like the spice. The problem with going back and changing stuff is that it breaks your concentration. Human minds are very good at getting used to doing one thing. So, if you break the pattern and do something else, then you need some more time to readjust to reach peak efficiency again. So, when you're done writing your draft, write the draft. Write, and worry about editing later. That's why they say that good writers rewrite. Hint number 3. Sprints are your friend. 50,000 words is an amazing amount of work, especially if you have to write them within 30 days. It means that every day, day in and day out, you have to write about 1,700 words. That's quite a lot of work, especially if you have family, a full-time job, or other obligations. My suggestion is that stop thinking those 1,700 words as one big chunk of text. Instead, break them down to, let's say, 400-500 word chunks. The months don't quite add up, but hear me out. It takes far less time to write 500 words, let's say about half an hour. So, each day you make sure you sit down, turn on your writing apparatus of choice, and type down for, half an hour? Do this 4 times a day, every day, and you're on target. Why is that? Well, let's be frank, writing is taxing. You have to sit down, you type, or you dictate, unless you have an exotic accent like me. You struggle to get the words out, put them properly on the page, and after a while your pace dies down. If you take a 2-hour chunk to write and midway through you have to stop so you can get some rest, or somebody interrupts you, or you're just too tired to write, if you say, oh, I'll be back for work, cook, and then I'll write, odds are you'll be very tired. So, if you just take one chunk of time to write and something goes off, your groove is off. Instead, if you have taken 4 smaller chunks of the day to write, and you get interrupted once, then you have other 3 to make up. And since your target is 500 words an hour, and since your target is 500 words per chunk, you have some slack. For instance, I've taken a chunk of my day to record this, but people just decided to start messaging me while speaking. This happens a lot. And problem is, my groove is now off. I'm sorry for that. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, on the other hand, if you're taking your half-hour chunks and at the end of the half hour you're really in the zone, the words just flow out, everything is clear, you can go on, and you've written more words than you expected. You're, say, at 700 words in half an hour instead of 500. You just go on. You keep writing, and because the muses favor you, you pull out a lot of new words for your novel. And unless you really have to stop because you have to go to work or cook dinner or take care of your children or anything, just continue writing. Being in the zone is precious. It's the secret to success, and you must pursue getting in the zone. If you take multiple writing sprints, not only do you make time, not only you deal with the tiredness coming out of writing, not only do you combat writing block, but also every time you sit down and take a sprint, you just tempt the muse, and eventually it will come and you'll write your words and more. So, it's a good idea. If you want to do a writing sprint, don't cram it in your busy schedule. Take some slack. If a sprint goes well, make it last longer. And really, you need slack, because there will be days you will not be able to meet your word count, and you'll have to make up for it. So, find some days you can take more sprints, make sure you write more than the daily target, and you'll make it. Of course, the 5 half-hour sprints are a suggestion. You know better what works for you, you try out different schedules, and see what suits you. Hit number 4. Writing is a social experience. They often say that writing is a solitary pursuit. Well, it's not. Having some friends to write together, talk to each other about your work is gold. That's what's great about the Nanowrimo and Camp Nanowrimo. Different people from different places all work together at the same time towards similar goals. Personally, I have discovered that having a sprint with friends is a boon to productivity. Because let's say that your friends say, oh, let's go and take a half-hour sprint together. If it was just myself, at the 10-minute mark I would probably wonder what cat videos are on YouTube right now. Or maybe I should go check my texts, my Facebook feed, my Twitter feed, my Instagram feed, anything. Instead, if I'm writing with a partner, I really have to come up with a adequate number of words, because if I spend half an hour and end up with 100 new words, that makes me seem like a lazy bum. That's why taking a sprint with other people works, it's more productive, because of peer pressure. Nanowrimo meetups really help for that, because you're out for a drink, coffee, a beer, anything. You have other people who are also very passionate about their projects. You talk together, you share experience, you share excerpts, you're asking questions about things that trouble you, and this interaction makes you more invested in your writing. It just reinforces the idea that you're not alone in this. And staying enthusiastic is very important for you to go on, because Nanowrimo is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Also, gamifying your Nanowrimo can do wonders. There is a site called For the Words, and it's great because it takes writing and makes it a browser-based game. You get challenges to write an amount of words within a time limit, like it's quests for an RPG game. There is a free 30-day trial if you want to test it. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can test it, and I would appreciate if you sign up using my referral code so you can get an extra bonus if you decide to keep using it and subscribe. Key number 5. And this will be controversial. Have a game plan. I know some people are about to shout heresy, but hear me out. I know I'm a plotter. I need to have a basic outline for my novel in order to write it. I know I need a rough outline for it to work. I need to know where I'm going, and I found that I'm a plotter during my first 2 Nanowrimo attempts, because I failed. See, after I hit 20,000 words in each one of them, my stories, just ran out of steam, and I had no clue about how can I continue. It was on my third attempt, the first successful one, that I had a scene-by-scene outline right next to me, and I wrote based on that. It was not super detailed. It just said, now the heroes do that, now the heroes do that, now the heroes do that. This happens. But it helped. I know some people don't have such a problem. They are what we call the pantsers. They are the writing tribe that writes from the seat of their pants and has the characters come up with a plot along with the writer. They dictate it. This works, but what happens when your character derails everything and suddenly you have to think, how can I move this plot forward? And while you're trying to come up with it, the clock is ticking. You lose precious time you could be writing. If you're a pantser, I would really love to comment below about how you deal with that, because I'm not like you. I have no such experience, and I can offer no solution to that. I'm sorry about this. However, it has happened to me that I write something, and suddenly it changes the direction of the novel. The novel goes somewhere I wouldn't expect. I discover my outline has holes because of something. However, me having an outline really helps, because I have a framework. I know how I can go forward. I can either choose to write a scene that is not affected by this sudden change. So, while I have to change everything affected, I have stuff to work. I can take my sprints, write those stuff, and then brainstorm about the stuff that have to change. Or, because I have the outline there, I can see how the next scene can change, how it is affected, and probably starting with this scene and going forward, I can make this domino of changes happen seamlessly. So, I don't suggest you really need a full outline, but just having a list of events, some milestones you want to hit will help a lot, because when writing you don't have time to think, you just have to write. These were my 5 tips for success on Nanowrimo. I would really love to hear your views on the comments below. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button, and if you want to listen to more videos like that, please subscribe. Thank you. Stay grim and productive.